care about my plastic.
We do not care. I'm just
That's not what you guys get.
If you look at it from the government standpoint,
Yeah, don't
though,
fucking
the amount of
show us.
revenue that they would generate
$21 trillion a year.
Not even to mention the drug war that's going on in Mexico, the cartel, it would shrink
If they
significantly.
legalize marijuana, why are you guys yelling? They're gonna want to legalize it.
Why not? Legalize
Yes. Ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
Yes.
You think we should legalize cocaine?
I'm not saying all
No,
at
okay,
once.
that takes it a little too far.
That's what he's saying.
I'm not saying all
Why
at
don't
once.
legalize blow? Straight up, right now.
Okay, no.
I'll go do a line with you right
What, did
now.
I say right now?
No.
I didn't say right now. I said eventually down the line, yes, you should.
So we're just, we're getting harder. Let's legalize ecstasy.
Eventually, yes.
Okay,
Legalize them
why?
all.
Cocaine's worse than
Okay.
Keep debating.
The government has no need to be involved in this. If anything, it should be up to the states. But it should be a person
I
doing
agree
that.
with that. It should be up to the states, like California.
Yeah.
Legal with under an ounce.
It
With
affects
a medical
other people
prescription.
too.
Okay, but it shouldn't be the federal government who decides.
Should killing
Because that's
someone
what
be
allows
legal?
it. No.
Why?
Weren't you on the debate team?
Yes, I was on the debate
This is
team.
true.
Because
We're
the
screwed.
thing is that if you look at it from a social contract point of view, I'm not sober enough to be doing this debate.
I love it.
Wrong.
You have no idea how
You're wrong.
perfect this is.
No, you're wrong. I'm not wrong.
You're wrong.
When our
Again, you lose your
when our
wrong.
founders came over here and they adopted the principles from Great Britain with the social contract, there are certain privileges that we had to be willing to give up in order for the government to protect us. Willing to take another person's life was one of those. You had to you had to give away certain liberties in order to gain certain protections from the government. But your willingness to decide what drugs you wanted to do or what not to do isn't something that you should have to give up because it doesn't
Okay, how about
inherently
not
harm
killing,
anyone.
but like raping a girl?
Okay, yes.
So wait. Not legal.
But what does drugs
other
don't
people.
actually do that?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
hold on.
You can sit there and say that drugs increase the likelihood to do that, but also owning a gun increases the likelihood for a person to want to kill somebody. That doesn't mean that you can't. That doesn't mean that you can't own a
Well, hold
gun.
on, because if you want to
Eating
legalize
French fries
weed-
increases the
you
likelihood
think
for
drugs
yourself
should
to
be
die.
legal?
The government doesn't want you to go and
You're
kill
getting
yourself.
too angry. I don't. You think drugs should be legal?
Yes,
Perfect.
all of them. I think all drugs should be
Hold
legalized.
up. What about roofling? You know how many
Yes.
chicks have been raped?
I'm not saying. Whoa.
that
Look,
drug-
did I say to use it on women? No. If you some people want to use Rufalin on yourself.
Do it without yelling, because the camera can't capture that.
Some people want to use Rufalin on themselves.
Do I want to roof you myself?
Yeah, exactly. You have to sit there and think about that.
I would try it.
Yeah,
I would-
okay.
I
Look at
would
that.
try it.
Three people in this room right here.
Robert,
Just like before I'm gonna go to bed, see how well I sleep.
Robert, doesn't when you legalize something, doesn't almost promote something?
No, it actually doesn't. In
No,
fact,
it's false.
it decreases
Okay.
the amount of people who use it.
I don't believe that's true.
No,
Look at the
that's true.
statistics.
That's
If you look
true.
at the places where marijuana is legalized, like Amsterdam, there are actually less users than there are in the United States.
Technically,
Also,
in Amsterdam,
we would be
it's not
decreasing
legal
the amount of
anymore.
money that the cartel would be making off of these illegal drugs because that's where the majority of the weed comes from for the United States. We're
Is
fighting a
Mexico.
drug war right now. We're actually killing innocent lives by purchasing this marijuana illegally. If the government were to legalize it, not only would it be a pure grade, but we would also be able to regulate it. The government would be able to make more money off of it, and we would be moving further away from our deficit. It only has positive benefits for the United States government. The only reason that we don't want to do it is because people initially haven't
Do you
set that
realize though
precedent.
that some drugs, like synthetic drugs, and what people do on those? There's been people who literally, they've tripped so hard that they've ate somebody's face. I met a lady.
Bath salt.
Whoa! I'm saying there should be
I-
regulations on them. I'm not saying that we should make them
How
as.
would you regulate it?
If you have
can't take
if you have
this much?
pharmacists making them, there are
Yeah,
ways
there's
to
way to
regulate.
regulate. Like there are weed shops.
And I understand your argument that people who are
Okay,
going
if
to
they
want to take
regulate
this
it-
much are going to do that. Yes, but that's illegal. Then you can punish those people. But that doesn't mean that you should punish the people
Just
for doing
like
the drug
California
itself.
has the under an ounce law,
That
it's
doesn't make any
legal.
sense.
I just don't see why you'd legalize somebody
Why
just so they can get into a car and then affect other people's lives.
They do it with
Every
alcohol
other
anyway.
Yeah, we do it with alcohol anyways.
Alcohol is legal. Alcohol was once illegal because
Alcohol is the
prohibition,
most
and now
dangerous
it's back.
drug in the
Yeah, and
United
And it made it
States.
worse.
I don't consider
More
it.
people drink alcohol while
When it was illegal.
illegal than it
Yeah.
was legal. People want what they can't have, so they're gonna smoke weed because somebody's telling them not to because we want to rebel.
But he's saying cocaine.
I'm saying legalize them all. I'm not saying all at once. No, you can't do that.
Have you ever even like had an experience with a drug, tripped on it?
I don't need to have an experience
Yes.
with a drug to trip on it to sit
You
there and say
realize
that it should be
it's-
legal.
If people are
I
sitting
am
there,
serious.
I don't
am.
need to eat certain foods to say that those should be legal.
but
A person who has eaten, the person who hasn't eaten French fries
different
doesn't need
mind.
to eat French fries to understand that those should be legal. Even though French fries have a huge health side
It
effect.
puts
Soda
people in
pop,
complete-
soda pop has one of
Soda
the most
pop diet.
detrimental health effects in the
Diet
world.
soda can cause cancer.
Soda is the leading cause of obesity in the world. Yet we still have that legalized. Do you know how many people
people
die
are-
because of obesity?
people are still in their
more
right
people,
mind,
more
though.
people die of obesity than any drug overdose ever.
But-
Any drug-related accident.
but
more
they're
people
still
die
in
of
their
obesity.
right mind. People are just okay. So you take
But-
a drug.
but you're
and
saying-
you take a drug, and people who are doing the drugs and all that, they're keeping it. They're not just walking around. Some people maybe are, but people try to keep it secretive because you can't just be walking around on meth. You can't be doing
People
that.
do it all the time.
People do it all the
Yeah,
time. In
people
fact,
do.
the
Yes.
statistics show that people would be less likely to put themselves in harm's way if it was legalized. You can't
It just
Plus,
doesn't
the more it's
seem.
legalized, the more awareness you get about it.
exactly. And the more regulated it is, so you're not having the stuff that's laced with a whole bunch of shit that you don't know, that you don't understand how it reacts with each
People
other.
will still do that.
Like people are
People
buying.
And those people will be punished.
still want that extreme high. People will still trip.
Some people,
it'll be
yeah,
less
but it'll be
number of
less,
people.
and it won't be as magnified. And the people who are doing that will have understanding of what they're doing. You're not taking any of that education into consideration.
Some people, when they get offered a drug, oh, I've never done that before. They're telling us not to do it. I want to try it to see what it's like.
I just,
Also, how many people have smoked
okay,
weed laced with
weed-
PCP?
weed is-
Those people have
weed
no
is a
fucking
different
idea
story.
what they're doing.
Weed is a different story. I understand people's response on that because, like, you are still in your right mind. You know what you're doing. There's
Yeah.
a lot of drugs that you can't even see.
If
You
anything,
can't-
why should the federal government sit there and say that we shouldn't have it legalized? If anything, it should be up to the
because it
states.
puts other people at home.
Where in the Constitution
so
does it
many
say
other
that?
things
So
that are
many things
illegal.
put people in harm's way. French fries put people in harm's way. Soda pop put people in
Automobiles.
harm's way. Seatbelts put people without seatbelts that put people in harm's way. I don't think the government should be able to regulate the right on seatbelts or not. If anything, it should be a state's right. It's not explicitly stated in the Constitution. And if you're a strict constitutionalist, you would sit there and say that that's unconstitutional for the federal government to sit there and mandate that you have to wear your seatbelt and then define you because of it. If anything, it seems like a reason for them to just build more revenue
Well,
because
then-
they're spending irresponsibly.
Well, basically, once you legalize that, then what's next? Then everything. You can say that
Yeah.
about every single law.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you go into a straight anarchy, and people run wild, tripping
And
acid.
how many people sit there and say anarchy is a good thing? All the libertarians, first of all, they all want anarchy. You're sitting there. The thing is that you're in a
People-
mindset assuming that anarchy is a bad thing. Anarchy is actually an idealistic point of view.
That everyone's just all for one.
Just
one
like
for all.
socialism's an idealistic point of view. How many people sit there and argue
I don't know.
socialistic principles? You don't sit there and say, well, that's socialism, that's
I
just
don't
bad.
think. I really don't think it's
No,
a
you don't
stupid
do that.
idea. It doesn't seem like a good idea. From what I've seen with drugs.
The thing is that when you look at the different
Drugs.
laissez-faire principles that we have in our society already, those are already based off of anarchist principles. So you can't sit there and say all things based off of anarchy are inherently bad.
I didn't say that, but
Right. So, but you're saying we
with
would
no
have straight up
structure-
anarchy.
No structure
But
whatsoever.
why is that a bad thing?
That's coming from me. I don't.
But why is that a bad thing? Like you have no concrete facts to back up why that would be a bad
So
situation.
I can kill him. It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. But
But
that
it's
doesn't mean that the
anarchy.
government needs to regulate
Right?
it. Individuals can regulate it. The free market can regulate it. It doesn't mean that we need a
You
structured
can't just say
government
all
in
for
order to
one, one
regulate
for
it.
all, and then say you can do what you want. But no, you can't kill that person. No, you can't rape that. You can't steal. You can't, like, there's got to be some sort of structure in the world, or it would be absolutely crazy. If you
No,
can't,
because
so
you're
if
assuming-
everyone, if I can just walk into Walmart and take anything I want and I don't get punished for it, what happens to the person who owns that place? They don't make
First of
money.
all-
Then there's no economy.
First of all, if we had anarchy, there wouldn't be a Walmart per se. There would be a person who would sell a product, but you would have to exchange for that product. Otherwise, they wouldn't give it to you. And yes, they would have a right to
So-
protect their product. And the free
So
market.
now we're leading to like communism.
No, whoa!
No,
It's like you
no
don't even
one would be
understand the
ahead of
definition
anyone.
of communism.
No one would be ahead of
The thing
anyone.
is yes, they would. Someone would be ahead of someone. The person who has more resources is the person who's automatically ahead of someone. The person who does the smarter investments, the person who predicts the market trends, is the person who's going to be ahead of someone. So it'd basically be the same capitalistic principles that we have right now, just without the governmental regulations.
So
Furthermore,
is there a law
you
that I
comparing it to communism is completely wrong because communism would be saying that the central government has all the power and then they distribute it to everyone, and that anyone who's doing anything, even if their job is of greater value inherently, doesn't mean that that person gets paid respectively to what they're doing. So everyone is equalized on that manner. You also have aspects of socialism, which means that they're distributing the wealth. So that means that the government takes a certain percentage of what people are making and then distributes it among the other people. You can't sit there and compare. Both of them are idealistic principles, but they're on completely opposite spectrums.
But you're saying people should be able to do what they want, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's an argument.
But then,
I say that if anything, drugs should be.
What comes next after that? And letting people just walk around and just do what they want.
You can also play the what if game 100 times
You're playing
over.
the what if game though.
I'm not playing the what if
Okay,
game.
you're
I'm
saying what would happen if we did legalize
I'm not
it.
saying what would happen if we legalize it. I'm saying it should be legalized because there's no reason for the federal government to not have it legal. If anything, if
Are you
for
talking about
being
marijuana or
illegal,
all drugs?
I'm talking about all drugs. I'm not saying legalize them all at once.
Don't you think it'd be easier
But I'm
to
saying that if
regulate it
anything, the
legal?
states should be the ones to regulate it.
Okay, if everybody is once it's legal, people stop hiding. People stop doing it just in their basement when nobody's home. People stop shutting all the doors and putting the phone lines off or whatever when they do their drugs. They'll do it out in the open. They do it whenever they want. That's how easily you can regulate
So
it.
just walking down the street and that guy can just be smoking a pipe of meth. That's
No,
okay.
just because it's
That's
legal doesn't mean that you can walk down the street smoking it.
But
You
it's
can't
But
have
you
it open
can't
container
walk
of
down. Yeah,
bars.
you just can't. You can't walk down
Well-
the sidewalk drinking a beer.
Well, yeah, you haven't put the regulations on it then yet.
I didn't.
There
There
will be
will be
regulations.
They're not
You
gonna
have to
make regulations.
regulate it.
That's the kind of regulations they'll make.
Whoa.
But-
They don't
hold
say
on.
that
So you can
size
do
limit.
it only in your house alone.
No, there will be certain regulations. That's for the states to decide.
Right.
Like there'll be an
exactly.
age regulation. There'll be.
Just because
You
it's
can't do-
legalized doesn't mean that anyone can do it willy-nilly.
It doesn't mean it's all for one and one.
So
Also, when
It
people
means-
say
so
that
there's-
weed's
they're
legalized,
saying
there's actually
prescription-
nowhere in the
prescription
world where
drugs.
weed is actually 100% legalized.
prescription drugs, you can go in to any place and be like, I want so much oxy. And you can take it, but they're like, you can only take half of the pill. You don't think people are going to abuse that?
First
No,
of all, oxy
they
is
probably
legal,
will.
just with a prescription. It's already
Yes.
regulated.
Yeah, but people
What's your
abuse
point?
it. People abuse it. And
Okay,
people,
Okay.
Okay, just because people abuse certain things doesn't mean that it should be
abuse
legal.
So if
alcohol
it's
too,
easier
it's
to
legal.
get it, they're just going to
They
abuse
abuse
it
cigarettes,
more.
that's-
No,
Yeah, but they
because
do more
trends
limits,
don't
huh?
show that. You're making that argument, and I can understand why you're making it, but you're using it off the things that are already legalized, and the trends don't show that people abuse it. The trends actually show that people use it less often because of it.
Prohibition was the highest usage rate of alcohol in the history of the United States. It's the only time it's ever been illegal.
The only
Not
thing that
even
keeps
close.
people from believing that these things should be legalized is the propaganda that
To
the
me,
government is
I
feeding
wouldn't want
us.
to be walking down the street.
But is that because of your personal beliefs, or is that because of what society has already fed you?
First of all, you could make them go to a place and only allow them to use it there. Like a government-controlled center for drugs.
And you think people would actually
Yes,
follow
they
that?
will.
Oh my God,
Absolutely,
yes.
yes.
If they wanted to use that, yes,
They
they
get
would.
to use a drug legally in an area where people can
There's a
watch
law
them
on
against their
drinking,
phone.
and people. There's a huge rate of underage drinkers.
Okay,
Okay?
they should
People
lower the drinking
still,
age too.
people
They
will
should
still
lower the
break-
drinking
people
age.
will
The
still
drinking
break
age
the
used to
law.
be 18. Until.
Whatever.
You're right, people will still break the law. People break the law already. Does that mean that we should have no laws? No. You're advocating that we have more
You were
laws.
just saying
No, but
people
you're-
should be able to do what they want.
Right, but you're the
You
one
can't just let people
With
do what they
regulations.
want.
with regulations.
They can do what they want with regulation, age regulation, like.
So it's basically like
Quantity
you can
regulation.
only
No.
steal
Thank you.
if it's under $100.
No.
You know that is a regulation. If it's
Exactly.
under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor. If it's over,
I
it's a
realize
felony. That's a regulation.
That is a regulation, but they're not saying that. First of all, you're comparing two different things. You're comparing morality versus legality. Morality, you can set a categorical imperative, which the United States has, off of saying that stealing is inherently wrong. The categorical imperative is that you should not steal. It doesn't matter the instance, it doesn't matter the reason.
I
They're saying
understand.
blanketly
I
you
don't
shouldn't
disagree
steal.
with anything you say. I just think
If you don't disagree with anything I say,
most
then
of
we're on
thing-
the same
Most
side.
of the thing, no, I just don't think it should be legalized. I don't want to see people.
Then you're
walk-
disagreeing with something I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why that's not what I meant. Whatever. Whatever. I'm not even mad. I'm just saying.
I'm not mad either. I lived for this.
Until you-
I did 4 years of this in high school.
See, that's where I kind of dropped off a little bit. I was like, he was in debate.
I can't even move my legs. You are
I don't
all
know.
yours.
Until you, I've seen a lot of weird shit, and I wouldn't want that to be around.
I've tripped on shrooms before.
Okay, that's not that bad. I've been literally around people who have passed away because they overdosed on oxy.
And if they were forced to do that in a government-regulated area, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but they still were given the oxy. It's promoting it.
It's not
Why
promoting
promote
it.
something that's just hurting people? That doesn't make sense.